Southern Ohio, and we found ourselves at a car show, and I wanted to do a video at the car show, and I took plenty of video, and I actually interviewed one of the organizers, and then when I went to edit the video, couldn't find it. So I don't know if I actually did not record or if something happened where the video got deleted. I didn't see it in the trash, but whatever the case, it wasn't there. So my apologies, no video from last weekend from the car show in Southern Ohio. But I do have a project here. Let me swing around. And here on the Silverwing, as you'll remember, Bertha. Now what I'm trying to install is right here, the tire pressure monitor. It's also a voltmeter. Now let me come over here to the Goldwing, and I have one on the Goldwing. And it shows you the tire pressure, front and rear tire, the temperature of the tire, but it also gives you the voltage. So as soon as I turn the key on, it will reset, and then you have all that information at a glance. And I think on a motorcycle that's pretty important, the tire pressure, because you only have 2 tires. Now you're supposed to do your T clocks, which is your checks on your bike, often the T standing for tires. But here, as soon as you turn the key on, you have your information that you're looking for. So back over here to the Silverwing. And I was trying to figure out where to mount this, and my first thought was like right here on top of the cover like I have on the Goldwing. But I talked to Princess and we kind of thought right up here would be kind of nice to have. And what I did is I mounted it with industrial exterior grade Velcro. But then if you can see, I drilled a hole right here. And then I have a grommet that I'm going to put in there and run the wiring through that little hole and then hook it into the system. So as soon as the key turns on, I'll have information. Now you want keyed power, or power that only comes on when the key is on, to prevent draining your battery. I don't think there's that much of a draw, but you still don't want to drain your battery. So that's what I'm working on now, and as I progress, I'll give you an update. All right, bye for now. Okay, so the hole is drilled, the grommet is in there, the rubber grommet, and the wire is nice and tight run through that grommet. So she should be nice and waterproof. That's a waterproof unit where the wire goes into the fairing. It's also now waterproof because it's a nice tight fit. And we got the wiring, rest of the wiring right here. So I just have to run that to keyed power and to a ground, and it can be a ground anywhere on the bike. And then I have to install the Bluetooth air pressure sensors on the valve stems, and we're finished. All right, more in a bit. So I don't know if you can see, but I have run the wiring through the bottom of the fairing, an already existing hole. And then I have it right down here. And then I added some wiring, and I used heat shrink to keep it waterproof after I made the connection. Then I'm going to tape it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you can see, get my hand out of the way. On this bar right here, I'm going to zip tie it, and then I'm going to run it up probably alongside of this wire here. And then right over here is a wire that's keyed power. It only comes on when the key is on, power does. And it powers the driving lights up front. And we're not drawing much off of that to operate this tire pressure monitor, so I think I'm going to tie into that for the power wire, or the hot wire, and then we'll find a suitable ground for the other wire. And just, of course, run the wiring somewhere along, the frame. Not sure where, probably over here while the other wiring is being run, zip tie it. Anyway, that's the plan. So anyway, I've got my wiring here, all hooked up to the tire pressure monitor through here, and then inside the fairing, down through that hole in the bottom. It comes out over here, right here, and then we're going to zip tie it in place. So I'll show you when we're finished. All right, more later. So here's where we are. I've got the hot wire right here, because you saw it went through the fairing, down through the bottom of the fairing, and then came out down there, and I zip tied it along the frame right here, and the hot wire coming across this way, and I tied in right here to the power for the lights. It's keyed power, so it only comes on when the key is on. Of course, I used a shrink tube, waterproof it, and then zip tied it. So there's the hot wire. The negative, or the ground wire, right here runs along and right here, and it gave me an opportunity to clean up this ground, which is always a good thing to do. So I know I have a good clean ground right here. So now I have the power wire and the ground wire both hooked up, so it should work. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so we have power to the unit. No reason we shouldn't. Now I've pulled off the valve stem cap. Not going to use that now. And I screwed on here this little lock ring, or lock nut, all the way down. And then these are your Bluetooth sensors right here, sending units. You got rear wheel and front wheel, and there's a little battery inside of here that you replace when it goes, and there is a reading on the little display that tells you how much power is in the battery. So the idea is just to screw this on, get it on there good and tight. Then you bring the lock nut up to meet it, and you take the little wrench that's provided and snug it like so. Keep it from coming off. There's the front one, and you do the same thing to the rear, and now the display should tell you how much tire pressure you have in your tires. Okay, so I've got the unit installed. Bike is running, so I'm standing over here for a minute. Got the choke on because she's cold. The unit is defective. Oh, anyway, let me go over and show you real quick. Let me swing around. Don't get dizzy. So hopefully, as you can see, the voltmeter was showing over 15 volts, and that's too high. That's wrong. I took my multimeter and I tested at the battery, and I'm at 14.4 thereabouts. That's right. So the voltmeter on it is wrong, and hopefully you saw that the rear tire air pressure was showing 15 pounds. That's wrong. I checked it, it's at 36 pounds of pressure. So I've contacted the seller, haven't heard anything yet. Bought this on eBay, so of course you have to send the correspondence via eBay and then wait for a response. But at any rate, I wanted to show you how I installed the unit. Was able to do that, and then hopefully they will send me another unit. I can replace this one and the new one works. I did drive it around the block, rode the bike around the block, hoping that the unit might reset. It did not, so I think it's a defective unit. So at any rate, it's still, I think, worth the peace of mind to put that on your bike, so you know what your volts are and what your tire pressure is, and it's good to know that stuff. So anyway, let me go back up and check it now. Let me see what it's doing. Swing around once again. Again, don't get dizzy. Here we go. Obviously, that's wrong. Those numbers aren't right. So anyway, that's all for this video. And if nothing else, I hope you learned a little bit about running wiring. Well, yeah, that's all for now. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. you.